Do you believe wholeheartedly that Jay's your father?
I really do. And if it's not, why you can't prove me wrong? Like, it's not far as a proving me wrong thing. It's go to the courtroom and basically do what everybody else would have enough information to keep the case going. So it was a big case to me because, you know, I really wanted to find out who my father was, and for the case not to go how I was planning it. I really thought it was going to go different than what it was, but well, I really feel like it should have been over with because, you know, I feel like if it was anybody else, you know, like, oh, I'm not saying this because people got higher standards or people make more money than that, but it's just different because, you know, if it was anybody else that made a low income, I feel like they would have had them in there way faster than people that's wealthy.
Do you really believe, with no doubt, that Jay-Z is your dad? That question hit harder than most, especially now because a federal judge just ordered Jay-Z to take a paternity test. And what happened next? Less than 2 days later, his alleged son's car got lit up with bullets. That wasn't random. That was a straight up warning. Somebody out there clearly wants this kid to stay quiet. Or else. But don't get it twisted. This ain't just some street beef. This is high-level legal warfare, a media blackout, and a billion-dollar brand doing everything it can to silence one man before the truth breaks their empire into pieces. Let's take it back to 1992. Jay-Z allegedly had a one-night stand with a 16-year-old girl named Rymir Satterthwaite, though in the streets she went by Precious. The link-up was supposed to be safe, but according to her, the condom broke. And that's when everything changed. She got pregnant, and from that moment on, her whole world turned upside down. Jay? He vanished. No call, no contact, no support. And remember, back then there was no IG, no DMS, no entourage to track. She was just a teenage girl left in the dark, and when she gave birth, she was still only 16, unconscious in the hospital bed. Now here's where it gets even messier. Her boyfriend at the time, Robert Graves, signed the birth certificate, knowing the baby wasn't his. Sources say he did it just to get extra government help, like food stamps and welfare checks. Total chaos, and this was just the beginning. Now here's where the trauma really started stacking up. When Rymir was just 8 years old, his mom, Wanda, sat him down and dropped a truth bomb. Jay-Z is your father. She never changed her story. Not once. For years, she pleaded with Jay-Z to take a paternity test. She even offered to handle everything quietly, behind the scenes. But he stayed silent. No response, no interest. Still, Wanda didn't back down. She pushed through every roadblock thrown at her. Denied motions, lazy lawyers who disappeared on her, and judges who flat out told her she was wasting their time. But when she realized her health was fading and time was running out, she made one last move that she hoped would live longer than she could. Wanda signed a sworn affidavit, officially naming Jay-Z as Rymir's father. That was her final act in this fight. In 2019, she passed away from heart failure. But before she left this world, she told Rymir to never stop and that one day the truth would explode no matter what. And let's be real, Wanda wasn't clout chasing. She didn't care about headlines or fame. She just wanted her son to know where he came from. Now, Rymir's all grown up and he's not playing around. In 2014, he took things into his own hands and filed a civil paternity suit against Jay-Z. This time, he had backup. His godmother and legal guardian, Klled, who had been holding it down for him ever since Wanda's health took a hit. But then things got real shady. Jay-Z didn't handle it like a regular person would. Nope, his legal team allegedly built a twisted maze of delay tactics, fake leads, and dirty tricks, all to block one basic thing, a DNA swab. Here's how they allegedly pulled off the legal trickery. When Rymir and his godmother, Klled, filed their lawsuit, they did it in New Jersey. Makes sense, right? That's where Jay-Z allegedly hooked up with Wanda, and word on the street was he had property there too. The whole game plan? Prove Jay had ties to Jersey so the court could legally demand a DNA test. But Jay-Z's team hit back with a slick legal move. They claimed he didn't live in New Jersey, so the court had no power over him. The catch? There's serious evidence suggesting he did have roots in Jersey. We're talking receipts, real estate records, tax filings, even official documents from his own companies that all point to him being connected to the state. Still, his legal squad allegedly used a New York address to slide out of it. That one shady move got the whole case thrown out. But it didn't stop there. The alleged tactics only got darker. Lily claims Wanda was sedated in the hospital, fresh out of a coma, and still trying to recover when Jay-Z's legal team allegedly swooped in with papers for her to sign. She had no idea what she was agreeing to. She was barely conscious, and whatever she signed, it allegedly stripped her of her rights in the case. Just like that. Jay-Z's team gained the upper hand again and the lawsuit crumbled. But here's where it gets real wild. Lily says Rymir's own lawyers might have been playing both sides. That's right, attorneys who were supposed to be fighting for him allegedly flipped, made clumsy mistakes, filed things wrong, and introduced legal errors so bad it almost looked like they wanted the case to fall apart. Take the test, or forever be listed as the father. By law, that was the court's final warning to Jay-Z. And right after that bombshell ruling, Rymir got shot at. Yeah, let's break down what went down next. It all started on July 18th, the day the court finally stopped shielding Jay-Z and told him to face the music. But just weeks later, in September 2023, things turned deadly. Rymir says he was targeted in his own driveway. There were other people around. The lot was packed. Yet somehow, only his car got sprayed. That wasn't random. That was a message. Lily backed the whole thing up during their interview on the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast. She said it straight. It felt like retaliation for going public with the truth. And here's the thing. This wasn't even the first time they felt unsafe. According to Lily, she and Rymir had been followed, stalked, and threatened for years while fighting to expose the truth. And the closer they got to dragging Jay-Z into a DNA test, the more aggressive the threats became. Now this is where it gets next level. Lily says Beyonce allegedly got involved behind the scenes. That's right. They believe she was the one calling shots in the background, not because she thought Rymir was lying, but because she was scared of what the truth could do to their billion-dollar brand. Allegedly, Beyonce wanted Rymir shut down quietly, not for protection, but to protect the image. Even when Jay-Z's team briefly floated the idea of signing Rymir to Roc Nation, Lily says Beyonce shut it down fast. That offer vanished overnight like it was never on the table. And let's not act like the music shade didn't happen either. Jay-Z threw shots on wax, plain and bold. In his now notorious bar, he rapped, "Heard about us," singing Billie Jean in his prime for the 1000th time. "The kid ain't mine. Online, they call me Dad Kittenly." Then he brushed it off with, "You're not supposed to take this dad thing literally, that's too famous." And ended it cold with, "I'm cool on that. Chuck the 2 fingers every day. I'm getting sued. I show up to court without a suit." But that wasn't just clever wordplay. That was a direct hit aimed at Rymir. At the time, the kid had been chasing a paternity test for over a decade. Jay turned the legal war into a lyric, turning pain into punchlines for the world to stream. But Rymir didn't stay quiet. He came back with a track of his own, throwing lyrical jabs like ninjas washed up, still doing tracks like 55, "Where the F you at? Go back to your old days, grown man in his old ways." He made it clear this wasn't about clout or beef, it was about reclaiming his voice. If Jay could take shots in a billion-dollar studio, Rymir had every right to clap back on a mic of his own. By now, Lily and Rymir had enough. They started documenting everything. Timestamps, car tags, photos of the damage, suspicious faces, all of it. They talked to Tasha K, spilled the details to The Sun, and went on Hip Hop Uncensored. If someone tried to wipe them out, at least the story would survive. At this stage, Rymir wasn't just chasing a DNA result, he was going up against a legal system that looked more interested in protecting Jay-Z's reputation than giving him any shot at justice. The deeper you dig into the receipts, the louder the truth screams. This was never a fair fight. Let's start with this bombshell. 6 different judges touched this case over the years, and yet not one of them ever made Jay-Z take a paternity test? Make it make sense. By 2023, Rymir and Lily were done playing nice. They filed a brand new lawsuit, this time not against Jay-Z, but against the New Jersey court system itself. The claims, fraud, obstruction, straight up civil rights violations, they accused the judges of conspiring to protect Jay-Z. And Rymir wasn't quiet about it either. He said it all in a video that laid it out clear. And it gets even worse. When Rymir tried to get the records from those early court hearings unsealed just to see what really went down, the Supreme Court hit him with a denial. Not because he was wrong, but because they claimed they didn't have jurisdiction. Another door slammed shut. But here's the kicker. New Jersey law says if someone refuses to take a paternity test and there's enough solid evidence, that person can be legally presumed the father. That means Jay-Z could have already been declared Rymir's dad by law. But the courts just looked the other way. And for what? To keep a billion-dollar legacy clean? To avoid headlines? Meanwhile, Rymir's been paying the price. 14 years of legal bills, filings, and emotional trauma. Let's keep it real. If this ever hits trial and Jay-Z's name gets dragged into court with claims that he fathered a child with a minor in this post-R Kelly world, this won't just be about paternity anymore. It'll be a full-blown PR meltdown. After nearly 20 years of silence, sealed documents, ghosted court dates, false addresses, and intimidation tactics, the clock is finally ticking. Jay-Z has until July 18th to respond to that federal judge's order. If he doesn't, then under the law, he's officially presumed to be Rymir's father. But that ain't the only storm brewing. Behind the scenes, there's another wild twist. One that might explain why Jay-Z's gone so hard trying to bury this case. Word on the street? Rymir might not be his only secret child. For years, whispers have been flying about a secret daughter, someone older than Rymir, allegedly born from a different early 90s fling. But unlike Rymir, she never went public. Why? Because insiders say Jay-Z allegedly paid her off to stay silent. And guess who was one of the first to hint at it? Wendy Williams. She called him out way back, and now that detail changes everything because it points to a pattern. Deny the child, but pay for the silence. So now people are asking if Jay-Z was allegedly willing to support a daughter behind the scenes. Why go to war with Rymir? Why the court delays, the sealed files, the legal tricks? The answer might be cold. Wanda was underage and Rymir spoke up. This ain't about hush money anymore. It's about exposure. It's about legacy. It's about damage control that may have come too late. This ain't just about a DNA test anymore. It's way bigger than that now. Rymir and Lily are going all in. They're demanding punitive damages, a full jury trial, unsealing of every sealed record, and even a criminal investigation into alleged court collusion. What started as a quiet paternity claim has turned into a legal nuke, one that could blow the lid off everything. If this keeps going, we could see more lawsuits, more exposure, and possibly even more secret kids stepping into the light. And if Beyonce really was behind the scenes trying to bury this story, then we're not just talking about messy, and we're talking about a full-blown brand crisis. The Carters are masters of image control. They've survived rumors, scandals, and the wildest headlines. But this is the one they haven't been able to erase because it's no longer speculation, it's receipts. As of now, Rymir is stuck in limbo. He's made it clear he'll keep fighting, even if it takes the rest of his life. The court gave Jay-Z two choices: take the test, or let the law officially call him dad forever. But here's the real twist. If you thought Rymir was the only one, think again. There's talk of a daughter, one Jay-Z's team allegedly bought a house for in Connecticut. She's never gone public, never filed a case, and word is, she's never had to work a day in her life. So now you've seen the war, but meet the one who stayed silent, and for a price. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more explosive stories, and we'll catch you on the next one.